as you see, we have a beautiful assortment of mums here. We are very proud of our mum growers. We actually have two wonderful growers. One that kind of grows what we call a Connecticut mum, and of course, it being a little cooler up here, you'll notice that there's some buds on them. Now, this batch over here came from a little bit warmer of an area, and this is also a different variety of mum. This is a Belgian mum, and these are going to have hundreds and hundreds of little clusters of flowers, daisy-like flowers. These are one of our better growers. The quality is exception. It's pruned as we call it Jersey style, because most Jersey growers grow it like a ball, where Connecticut growers try to get that effect, but understand that they can't get the same timeline and the same varieties to grow the same way. Mums are no longer pinched as we were taught to pinch. You would have to pinch these, as most people treat these as an annual. For the few brave ones that want to keep them as a perennial, there's that 3-pinch series that we have to go through in May, June, and July, where you actually disbud them or prune them back almost 6 or 8 inches off the ground at every single pruning point, which would be May 15th, June 15th, and July 15th is the last point. That creates the breadth of the plant, makes it grow sideways, and then it allows it to bud up at the proper time. You will actually have mums blooming in September. That's why they're called fall mums. September 22nd is the first day of fall, so why would you want them in bloom August 22nd? It's beside me. So these are considered, like I say, the Belgian mums are a little bit later, and the bloom time on them will actually extend almost into Halloween or beyond at some point or another. The cabbage and the kale are very interesting, and they're cold enhanced, meaning that the color of these different variations in the leaves probably won't show up until the temperatures get very, very cold. This is going to be a white top. This is going to be much more purple, and this one also more purple. And then we have the variation in kale, and the kale will actually get more purple in the center. The only thing that really bothers these are cabbage worms. Being this is more of an ornamental, you could probably spray them with either a chemical or like 7, or you could spray them with oil spray just to keep the worms off them, or BT. BT usually works on worms pretty good. But these here plants, and we also have them in a nice 4-inch size for window boxes, which is kind of interesting, will last you into January or even into February, depending on the weather, way past the mum season. The other additional thing we throw in are these Pennisetum rubrum, which are a beautiful purple fountain grass, but the fountain grass is not a hardy grass in this zone, so you're only going to buy it for the 1 year, but they are well worth the effort. Now, if you have those nice hanging baskets that you've been kind of preening along during the year and they're all shot, we actually have mums in beautiful 12-inch hanging baskets, and they're almost like bushel size. You can even put them in a whiskey barrel or some large container. Again, they'll bloom their little hearts out in about 2 weeks. So most of our mum crop, we would like it to peak out around the 15th. The 15th will give us about 30 to 45 days, bringing us again into Halloween. I believe the only thing that's going to hold back Halloween this year is the early maturation of the pumpkins. Hopefully they'll hold up. The other interesting thing that we have is way down in that back shelf are asters, and they're pretty much hardy asters or wild asters. Again, they fall under that 3 prune rule. You need to prune them back in order to get them nice and short and bushy and bloom on time. Otherwise, if you drive by any highway now, you'll see asters about 4 or 5 feet tall. They're actually the same aster, but they have never been pinched, so they also bloom very quickly when the heat comes or the cooler nights come. So we try to get them under control. So you can actually have those from year to year to year. Most people are not happy waiting another whole year until these things bloom. So again, these are pretty much throwaway plants. They buy them, they put them in the ground, they throw them away, they replace them with something in the spring. So pretty much that's the whole story with any of these cropping mums. The only other thing that we don't have here, but we just got in, would be Montauk daisies, which are also the late blooming daisies. They also fall under that the three pruning, the May 15th, June 15th, and July 15th pruning. Otherwise, you get big, tall flowers about 4 feet tall and brown leaves all the way to the ground. Whereas if you do the pinching actually makes them grow sideways. The interesting thing about mum growing in this era, these are fed a special fertilizer, and what happens is that it's a time release, and every time the plant thinks it might go to bud, the fertilizer gets released automatically in the soil that they're growing or the fertilization of the grower, and it projects more growth. Every time you give them a shot of nitrogen, they tend to grow. So the expense of having a whole bunch of people out there with scissors pruning these back to get these perfect shapes is unneeded now. These are all on a time release or fertilizer release basis, and this is how you get that nice round circumference.